Hey, it's the very good Dr. Glenn Livingston with DefeatYourCravings.com talking to you today about how psychotic pigeons can actually help you stop overeating. If you like this video or you get something out of it, please remember to like, subscribe, and comment below. What you'll get from watching this short video is an understanding of why people make a serious mistake in their healthy eating and weight loss attempts, how a series of experiments that I recall from graduate school with pigeons illustrates the fix, the simplest thing that you can do to correct this and get headed in the right direction, and why you can gain more control with this method than you may ever have had before. Here's the experiment. In step one, a bunch of researchers trained a pigeon to peck a circle for a reward, but also taught that pecking a rectangle would create a shock. Not the most ethical experiment ever done for the poor pigeons, but like I said, it was almost 40 years ago, and experimental ethics were not what they are today. And so I'm going to proceed and tell you about what happened. In this situation, where pecking a circle, which was clearly a circle, gave the pigeons a reward and pecking a square gave them a shock, what happened was what you'd expect to happen was very quickly the pigeons figured out how to discriminate the circle from the square, and they just pecked the circle. They were pretty happy because they could reliably distinguish what to peck to get a reward. That led to a pretty happy pigeon who got what it wanted. But then the experimenters did something kind of tricky. They made the circle a little more square-like, and they made the square a little more circle-like. They rounded the edges of the square and they squared up the edges of the circle just a little bit. This led to a little bit of confusion and a little bit of stress because it wasn't quite clear what to peck, but after a little while the pigeons could still discriminate. They knew what to peck to get their rewards. So you had a little bit of stress because of the confusion, but they could still get their reward. Then the real kicker came. They progressively made the circle more square-like and the square more circle-like until these two stimuli could not be distinguished from one another. They didn't really know which one to peck to get the food and which one was going to result in a shock. What do you think happened? What did the pigeons peck in this situation? Very, very interesting. In this situation, when the pigeons could not discriminate what to peck to get a reward versus punishment, the pigeons peck themselves. This is called a discrimination neurosis. Essentially, animals experience organismic distress or extreme stress when their brains can't reliably distinguish how to procure rewards and avoid punishments. In that situation, they become self-destructive, and we think this happens for people too. So this is called a discrimination neurosis. What does this have to do with human overeating? Well, think about the advice that we're given in our culture. Just eat healthy 90% of the time and indulge 10% of the time. But how do you know which is the 90% and which is the 10%? How do you know when to indulge and when to be good? How can you tell the circles from the squares? And the answer is you really can't. You're exposing yourself to vague food stimuli all day long, having to make decision after decision after decision. That confusion leads to a discrimination neurosis or a great deal of stress, which can lead to self-destructive behavior, just like it did in the pigeons. Very interesting. This is my slide to illustrate what I felt like when I didn't know exactly what healthy versus unhealthy food behavior was. It made me more likely to feel self-destructive and pull my hair out. Our brain goes on overload and we give up trying to discriminate what healthy action we should take. We engage in self-destructive actions instead. Okay, so how do you fix this? You can start with one simple rule, creating a very specific, simple rule so you'll know without fail how to behave in a particular tempting food situation, such as, I'll never go back for seconds again, or I'll never eat nuts with my hands again, or I'll never turn on my computer without drinking a full glass of water for the day first. It's something you could and would do, a very low bar, so that you can have the experience of successfully doing it every day. For example, a very classic example is putting out your gym clothes at night, every night before you go to sleep. You can do that. No matter how addicted you are to food, no matter how much trouble you're having going to the gym, you can put out your gym clothes at night before you go to bed. And if you see yourself doing this day after day, week after week, month after month, you'll start to develop an identity as someone who puts their clothes out before they go to bed, who must want to go to the gym. You start saying, I must be a gym goer. And then it becomes less a matter of trying to follow a rule with a bunch of policemen in your head trying to enforce it, and more a matter of becoming the kind of person that you want to become. So I'll never go back for seconds again makes it clear that any thought, feeling, impulse, or action which suggests that you'll go back for seconds is not something you want to entertain. It discriminates healthy versus unhealthy food thoughts and behaviors. It discriminates the squares from the circles. One simple rule puts an end to that discrimination neurosis, eliminates stress, and makes healthy behavior much more likely. It's better for this reason that the rules are more specific. You want the squares to have sharp edges and you want the circles to be precisely defined. Specific rules are much better than general guidelines. It's better to say, I only eat chocolate on Saturday afternoons than I avoid chocolate 90% of the time and indulge the rest, because with the latter, you have no way of discriminating, but with the former, all of your chocolate decisions during the week are made. And willpower is just the ability to make good decisions, by the way. So if you'd made your decisions beforehand, you're preserving your willpower for more important things. You can get an absolutely free copy of my new book, Defeat Your Cravings, at defeatyourcravings.com. The benefits of this book are a completely updated and rewritten science of cravings formation and extinction, so you can kill your cravings eating the foods that you love. The paperback, hardcover, and Audible formats have traditional costs, but you can get it free in Kindle, Nook, or PDF. When you do that, go to defeatyourcravings.com and click the big blue button. Sign up for the Reader Bonus List. You'll also get a free copy of our food plan starter templates. This is a diet agnostic philosophy. You can do this on any dietary philosophy which appropriately nutrifies your body. You can't do it if you're trying to starve yourself or eat 300 calories a day, but it works just as well for ketogenic as it does for whole foods plant-based, high carb versus low carb, point counting, calorie counting. You can see some of the rules we suggest for people to consider using to do that. And to make it very practical, I've recorded a full set of full-length coaching sessions so you can hear how this works in practice. Just go to defeatyourcravings.com. This is all free. You want to head on over to defeatyourcravings.com, click the big blue button, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below. Defeatyourcravings.com, click the big blue button. Thank you.